Hello, everybody.
Hello.
If you guys are sleeping, just squeeze your Kegel muscles. Right? 5 seconds in, 5 seconds relax. If I see your heads go up and down, I know you're doing it. So come on, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Bring up the energy. Well, thank you guys for having me. It's my first SALT conference. I'm really excited to be here. I'm a little bit different than maybe a lot of the speakers because I went through a lot to find my practice through pain, through purpose, and now I'm excited to be in that passionate state of my life. It's really great to pull yourself out of pain, just like my patients, into performance, but as business owners, to work from passion, not being set on fire, having to put out other fires, is just a really great way to practice, not just from like survival or need, but through abundance and changing the world. So to use your pain for that is awesome. Parts of my presentation might be hard to look at. It might be triggering, and then there's a QR code in the corner. So if it's so triggering, you can scan a QR code and just buy something. So you're at STACon. I love Leo. I actually met him when I started my business. I bought a salt cave and a float tank from the wrong people. And it was the wrong way to start my business. I was in a lawsuit, and I tried to find the gold standard on things, which is actually how I found Leo with the salt chamber. So that was pretty awesome, and that's how I build my practice, through trying to just find the best devices, the best practices. I have turned my own healing into abundance. I don't know if you guys know about the Biohack Yourself film that's on Amazon Prime. RFK's in it, and a lot of other cool people, but they told me I was an anomaly because I had so much joy even though all of the things I've been through. And I find that joy through gratitude and me watching all my patients heal and walk again and talk again, and it really helps me, with my day-to-day, even if times get hard again, because there's current events. And when you heal yourself, really, you heal others around you, your business is better, your employees are happier, and your patients don't doubt you. My patients would probably buy anything I recommended. They all love me. Any patient that I've ever had has stuck with me literally forever. I attract a neuropopulation, CPMS, Parkinson's, post-stroke, post-amputation. So people are almost, I don't want to call them lifelongers, but we hang for a long time. They're excited. They're like, you're younger than me. I'm going to have you the rest of my life. But when they know that you love them and you're there to study and to always get them the best of the best, even if it's not through you. I lost my mother to malpractice, so that's also do no harm first is very important. You're going to hear a lot about this. We all have a story. I talk to a lot of business owners, and now I help consult other clinics who are stuck in an insurance model or PIP practice, and they know they're just a monkey on the wheel, spinning, and they want to make a change. I built my clinic through going through hell. I would have never seen that path. You never see it on the journey. You see it later. But we all have a story. I'm sure all of you have one. And the more you share it with your clients, the more that they can relate to you. So it's beautiful when you share. Your healing is your alchemy, your own healing. Like I said, when you heal, the world heals. And it's a good time for the world to heal. This is a little bit about me. I'm a mother, a wife, and a survivor, which is a lot of what I'm going to talk about. But again, everything affects everything else. My mental state, I have a brain tap. It affects the way I am a mother to my children or a wife to my family when I come home from a hard day of work. How am I handling things, So I'm a survivor of Crohn's disease. And that brought me into ancient medicine, plant medicine. A lot I might not talk about here, but I've had numerous hospitalizations, malpractice on myself, which again, when you build your practice around telling your clients you're going to research, get the best devices, the best halo generators, you're not wasting their time or their money. They're going to appreciate that, even if they have to spend more. It's not really about saving money, it's about having a sacred space. Because my place is, if you're watching it, it's kind of expensive, but they can trust their atmosphere. So who am I now? I was featured on this documentary as an expert. A lot of people had to pay to show their product, but I was very happy that I was asked as an expert. I'm a medical advisor to different companies. There's me screen here. I love to validate even other companies. If they say their product works, well, let's see how it changes the mitochondria. Let's do a neural check. Let's validate the process before, it can get overwhelming at conferences, right? Which one do you want to buy, right? Can you test all of them out? Well, soon you can. AI is pretty cool, technology is pretty cool, lab tests are pretty cool, and they're more accessible and affordable every day. I'm a wellness journalist, I research, I influence. I think you just keep filling gaps. It just is what it is. If you want to take a picture of this, one of my interns wrote it. I'm not going to talk more about how awesome I am. But I'm really happy about all the things that I've done. So we'll go past. It's going to be the same QR code in each corner. They call me the queen of biohacking. I really love this conference because I don't see a lot of people I always see. You guys look a lot of new faces. And do you guys know the term biohacking? Can you raise your hand? Nice. So a lot of you don't. And I believe that many of us we're all biohackers because we're in this industry, whether you take IV therapy or supplements or you do brain entrainment, sound healing, grounding. There's so many ways to hack your biology to achieve a goal. So these are some definitions of biohacking. I had a news article come out and they're like, what's this weird hippie unorthodox person doing in her office that is hacking? And it brought me a whole new population. Like even my mom always says weird media is still, attention, but it brought all the people who didn't want the traditional way, that it wasn't working for them. So don't be scared to be different, to be in that quantum space, to be into that, it doesn't have to be functional medicine or cookie cut. Be your own person. Authenticity is the strongest way, I think, to have a strong practice and retain your clientele. What happened to me, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 13, and I didn't have insurance, so I just was kind of like doctor to doctor, hospital. Everybody clocks in, clocks out. They just want to stabilize you, not heal you. And a lot of other diseases develop. So I related to my patients in so many ways. You're just prescribed everything under the sun. Who cares if it works? I was lost in the system. And then I just got multiple diseases. And especially if a lot of your patients, when they're going through maybe COPD, if you guys have salt businesses or psoriasis or skin issues, there's so much underlying things going on that people don't, you can't see like an amputation or there's no cancer ribbon. They're dealing with it inside. So your clientele might have a whole new, bit of anxiety and tension that you may or may not be aware of. So just relating to all these things, like having robes and telling them it's okay to take your clothes off and, it's okay to cough really loud. It's okay to hack it up. I practice out of a salt room on Wednesdays doing dry needling. And me being there, they call me the cough lady. I'm like, come on, like let's get it out of ourselves. What are we here for? So just, finding someone to relate to them and let them know it's okay. And when you're not on the proper regimen, I'm not going to go through all this, but you guys know the side effects of everything. Next to the salt room I'm practicing out of is a pulmonologist, and I also teach yoga at the local gyms at EOS. And one of this lady, I told her I'm teaching yoga, and I told them if you need therapy to come to the salt room, because some of these women were just sitting down, they wouldn't get up and down, they couldn't breathe. And I'm like, have you tried salt therapy, halo therapy? Is it okay if I'm sitting? I move around a lot. Okay. They didn't know what it was, and one of the ladies was in a pulmonologist right next to the salt room, literally. It's like a medical, And I said, did your doctor ever tell you to come over here? No. She's even had a wagectomy, a part of her lungs removed, related to her condition and, different cancers. But for someone never to recommend salt therapy when it's right next door should be like illegal. Not to even try, I'm pretty dramatic, but I told her, you know what, meet me there, let's get you a membership. I want you to go every day for a month, and then I would love to go to your doctor with you. Let's do before and after results. I can I curse on this one, Leo? No. But, you know, I'm like, I'm going to F them up. But seriously, you know, we want to bridge the gap between medicine, you know, mainstream offering, and holistic. And for me, this shouldn't be like holistic hippie. I mean, it's science, it's salt, it's ions. It's like a lot of people will throw you in the woo-hoo category of like, especially if you're like me and you do ayahuasca journeys and plant medicine and stuff. So salt is pretty amazing. This is my before and after picture. I have a video of what happened to me. It's about 4 or 5 minutes, including my mom's malpractice and a lot of sadness I went through, if you're interested in watching. But I had my intestines cut while I was pregnant. I was hospitalized 9 months, and I ended up with a colostomy bag, pressure ulcers. I wasn't really moved around a lot. I didn't have range of motion. I lost all my teeth. I had to get new implants, and my skin was messed up. I don't know if there's other pictures here of how my face looked, but you know, I just wanted to show a lot of my clients, especially if they're over 60, they're like, you should have told me this day one, honey. I would have listened to you. You know, I just thought you were a pretty bitch, you know. I was like, no, I'm pretty and smart. No, I'm joking. But I'm not joking. So it's okay to, you know, give yourself a pat on the back sometimes. My mom's not here to tell me, so. I had to build my temple back, and I work with a lot of athletes. If it's not neuropopulation, I have Olympians, UFC fighters, NFL athletes with concussion, because I focus a lot on the brain and neuro. And they're always told once they hurt themselves, they cannot get back as strong as they would. Like, don't expect it. Maybe we'll get back 70, 80, 90%, never 100. And I'm like, we're gonna get back 110%. It's my first time at this conference, Leo. I don't wanna curse too much, but you know, I believe almost all of my patients build stronger than they were before. I'm stronger than I was before, even though I might not be as flexible. You know, where's the strength at? So you have to look at it differently, and body awareness, using your breath work. I've seen the best fighters come out of injuries, learning how to breathe better, move better, and have proper awareness. So how you believe, your patients believe. You know, if someone told me I can't look over my left shoulder, I'm like, look over your left shoulder, you can. They're like, what? I mean, people are so stuck with what they were told. When I had those pictures, they told me I would never go to the bathroom again. And my first podcast with Dr. Patrick Porter from Brain Tap that I love is, I was like, wait. I just want to let you know I take a shit again. Okay? But it's magical. I was told I would never, and to like change something on your body, it's very inhuman-like, and I wasn't eating by my mouth, you know. I had an IV TPN, so lots of IV therapy, and I was at lunch with someone talking about IV therapy. Having IV therapy once a month really doesn't work. It has to be very often if you're doing it, if you have malnutrition, if you really want to make a change, and it's really invasive. So again, it's how I built my clinic, because we also have, maybe I don't do IVs, but we have third-party people come in. They can take IVs, they can do blood work. I created my mantras here. I put my patients in timeout. I'm like, read number 4, or you can't come back to the chair. But, you know, we have to have the willingness to strengthen our weakest links. And you might have clients that come in all the time. What if this doesn't work? Or when this works, I'll do this or that. It's like the whats and the ifs. You have to believe to achieve. And that's usually why I'm not a good sales lady at a booth, because they're like, well, maybe I'll buy that if and when. I'm like, psh, next. You know, there's no if and when I will. It's like, you have to believe in it. Because your patients won't believe in it if you don't believe in it, right? If you know it will work, they will have a different energy when they come in. So one of my favorite, this is how I stack the biohack. So getting into abundance. I have a wellness clinic. It started off with yoga, personal training, physical therapy when I got my doctorate in physical therapy. Then I got a nutrition certification, group fitness, and just kept adding on. But again, when my mother passed to malpractice, I could hardly smile, or, you know, I have 2 kids and 6 businesses, and I host an internship, and I'm super funny all the time, and I like to make everybody laugh. So it was my rabbi that told me it's okay not to make eye contact. It's okay to be sad for a little bit. but he said, then you got to pull yourself out of it. But it was really hard because she was my best friend, and my business, I don't want to say suffered, but I felt like I wasn't the same for my patients. I felt like they knew. And it's like my veterans I teach. You don't want to talk about depression and pain when you're a business owner, because in an energetic practice, if my massage therapist, like someone just died in my family, I don't want them touching me, putting that energy into me of what they're going through. I'm very much into it. I mean, we're all energy balls, but you guys are not sitting next to each other, you're sitting within each other. We have our radiation field, and it's very important, your mental health, for your patients, for your kids, for your spouse, for your family. And when I walked, and also being a speaker, I would go to conferences, and every conference I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna spend $20,000 on a device. So I promised my husband, I'm gonna talk and I'm not going in the exhibit hall. So I always go in the exhibit hall and get one. I'm like, I have to support one vendor. But this time I walked by BrainTap, and when I tried it on, not only did I buy it for myself, like an idiot, I probably bought 4 at like retail. I was like, I know this plus 4 other patients who would benefit from it. And I have probably listened to it every day for 3 years. And I like it at nighttime. Sometimes I use it in the daytime. I have an almost 18-year-old who's taking SATs, and he's like, buy me this, buy me that. I'm like, only if you brain tap every day. I do bribe him to brain tap. His brain is important. And, we think about that exchange of energy, but our kids are important too. I have oh my God, he turned 9 last week. I can't believe it. My other son, Alex, and I write kids meditations for brain tap, on nutrition, on sleep. It's called the Mystical Treehouse series. And I've had mothers write me that those are the most fabulous ways their kids fall asleep, and it's the best thing ever to hear. But not only do my patients all love brain tap, one, to be in my clinic is at least 800 billing cycle, which is 28 days. Gotta get that extra billing in. But again, like I said, it's not cheap, but when they feel good, they recommend people. We also always have like Pay Anything You Can Fridays for people who maybe can't afford that fee, but they feel leaving so good. And not only that, they want to take this stuff home with them. So BrainTap is one of my most sold devices in my clinic. Like I could sell 30 BrainTaps a month. So it's a great return on investment if you're buying in bulk and you become a partner. It's great to have a neural check because you have a device that can validate your salt therapy. I've been at conferences with Dr. Porter and someone's like, try this drink. He's like, sure, clip, just a moment. He takes a baseline, took a drink, and then we saw some crazy changes with some really cool claims on nootropic drinks with lion's mane in it, methylene blue, different stuff, but then you can also see things that have no change or even a worse impact. Not everybody needs everything. Oops. Uh-oh, guys. I might need somebody up here. Oh, there I am. So, everybody doesn't need everything, but I wish he was here. Everybody should have a brain tap. I love it because it's not just for depression. Like, I was depressed, and it really helped me because I don't like to talk to other people as much as I like to speak on stage. Crohn's wasn't diagnosed through just pooping 100 times a day. There was abuse, physical, sexual. There's a lot of different things that everybody goes through, and for me to go through different things with a provider or somebody would just make me feel sick. It's not for me. It's not for a lot of my patients either. And I'm not a psychologist, so that's out of my scope. But here's a brain tap, check it out, and amazing things happen. And you can play it 10 times a day. They share it with their whole family, their neighbors. It's really cool. Grounding. All of the tables in my clinic have grounding sheets on them, or they're like anti-aging med beds. So they're lined with silver. You plug them in the wall. You can check how much the patient has EMF on them when they come in. And when they're laying on the treatment table, it's 0. Even if they can't put their phone down, it's still 0. And if their kid sits on the bed or their dog is with them, they're all benefiting. I also have a business, Biohack Your Pet, because I love the little furry guys, and even if they don't have fur. But grounding is really important. I always, just like I grew up without insurance and going to health clinics, I talk about biohacking for free. And when you give those tools to your patients who are spending money maybe on halotherapy, they'll appreciate it. So walking barefoot, hugging trees, sunning your butthole. I didn't say that out loud, did I? So this is the sheet that I have that I recommend. It's on the link. And the warehouse is actually in Orlando. I wish he was here too. The owner's John Baxter, pretty cool. Silver threading, tourmaline crystals, so like this natural infrared technology. It's pretty awesome. Movement. In the salt room, you know, you can do yoga. Movement is medicine. So yoga, cardio, resistance. I love to dance. I do twerk shops. I mean, bringing different communities together. And we even have, I have a whole population, neuropopulation, you know, twerking with MS. We get, you know, we have a lot of different, and people find me because I am unique, and they're like, hey, you're a therapist, and you were twerking, and you were talking about MS. So I put all three of those together, and you know, I'm entering college, and I'm very shy and insecure, and I want a boyfriend. Like, you don't know the other aspects of what your clients are going through that can really affect all parts of their life. You know, I have patients that are clothes like this and dream about, you know, having sex with a man, and that's important. So having a sacred space in your practice, even if you're not dry needling a pelvic floor, is so important. Just remember, you gotta give me my time limit. I talk forever. Nutrition's important. You are what you eat, you are your surroundings, you are what you drink. So if you have your patients coming in for salt therapy and they're eating McDonald's or drinking soda, a lot of times I've noticed clinics that I mentor don't talk about the hard things. Nobody likes to talk about, I had a new client, he said, I'm like, drink water after. They don't pick up a bourbon or something. I'm like, well, then you can't complain if all of this amazing stuff doesn't stick. You know, you're putting yourself in an acidic environment. You know, you gotta educate your patients, even if they don't want to hear it, because they know you've said it. And later on in life, they're like, you know what? That person said it. I remember it. It'll stick one day. You don't have to make it stick, but you should still say it. It's your duty if you're the owner of the practice. I offer supplementation at my practice. It's great to have some products for them just to get up and go with, just like the knee screen test. You can have it at your clinic, and you can have them test their mitochondrial function before they start maybe a salt membership for a month, and then they could do a follow-up test. And you can't, data doesn't lie, you know, well, if you're not paying for it, and I used to help grade research, which then data could lie if you paid me to make it lie. No, I'm kidding, I'm joking. But research is skewed. We talked about that at lunch. Like, so much research is paid for and manipulated to show a certain thing. But anyways, so having good products, I have a hyperbaric oxygen tank at my center. It's also an anti-aging med bed. We have methylene blue, we have IV therapy days, and I'm always changing the supplements I have based off of the company or, you know, shelf life and how good is it. We recommend, again, routine lab work. And so these are my faves. I'm gonna go through it. The brain tap, I told you. I think Dr. Porter were all of you guys in his talk? Did you hear how amazing that device is? All right, I can't follow that one up, so we're just gonna pass beyond that. I have neurobioelectric therapy, so I do master resets in the sauna, or the salt, not in the sauna, it's too sweaty, but in the salt room. We keep the machine on the outside because you don't want it to get ruined. It's like $18,000, but you put 2 pads on the neck, 2 pads on the feet. It's 500 hertz direct current, and it's really great to reset your body. I couple that with the brain tap, and by the time they're done, it's like they had 4 hours of deep sleep. They pop out of the salt room, and they're like, oh my God, what happened? So it's a beautiful thing. Most of these things also, if you use code QUEEN, you get the biggest discount, even bigger than what their website offers. Because usually I won't affiliate with someone if they don't give the biggest discount to the queen. So remember that, companies, if you want me. So alternative medicine. It's important to know and talk about no matter your beliefs. I believe in marijuana really has helped me. It helps me eat, sleep, and I talk with caregivers, and you don't have to smoke it, even though that's my primary way to take it. It might not be the most doctor thing to do, but you can do Topical, it doesn't have to have THC, so there's a lot of different options. If you do bring stuff like this into your clinic, there's more liability and regulations, so you have to know where your clinic is and what are the rules. So again, we do a lot of events off of my clinic at a plant medicine church, because I don't want to take on a whole certification. I actually taught smoke and stretch last night before I came here. It was super fun. So I like to go to ayahuasca journeys, and I do neural checks, and I've been scanning the changes of the brain and what's going on in these ceremonies, because it was part of my healing process. And it's kind of hard to get a before and after on plant medicine, because there's so much going on, like music, community, stuff like that can also change your scores of happiness and your brain waves. But it's really cool to bring, again, bridging the gap between modern science, plant medicine, to show the data of what's happening. Because there's also addiction. It's not always good. There's so much addiction happening because it's getting more legalized. I can see that left and right. My son, never mind, but I'm being recorded. Just joking. Not my son. This neighbor's son was asking me for something the other day. No, I'm joking. All right, nootropics. Have you guys heard this term before? Yes? Okay. It's a fancy term, and maybe it's a new term, but it's like things to help shift your brain waves. So like, can it help you focus? It's like another word for Adderall. I'm joking, but like methylene blue helps, lion's mane, different supplements that can help you have more attention and focus. So again, looking at my patients' behaviors, having a lot of athletes or business owners, a lot of them are on different supplements. And if you can change their behaviors to more holistic ones, again, they feel better. I've gotten 95% of my patients off opioids and Adderall and, stuff like that. The rest I take and put in my back pocket. I love infrared sauna. It's a no-brainer to go with a salt, room. Infrared saunas are great. I have an ice bath. I would love the Morosco Forge, but I have the ice plunge. I actually don't recommend it. I've had so many problems with the ice plunge. So that's why it's good to look at reviews. I wish I looked at reviews. They gave me a good deal, and I'm like, yeah, extra large ice plunge, please. It was half the price, but still $8,000-$9,000. It was not the best purchase. But anyways, and it's not unknown. It's there, just like the guy bought this salt in the float tank. That's how I found Leo, because there's a whole list of people in Better Business saying this is a terrible company. So do your research. Chromotherapy, light therapy, just having changes of light. Clients like to take selfies. If you have friends that salt together, stay together. It's just the way of the world. If it wasn't on Instagram, they were never there, so they have to take a selfie. And at the same time, in my clinic, we also have a cell phone free zone, and if someone wants to bring their phone in there, they have to ask permission to me and every single person in there before, and then they have to take their phone back out. Because we want to have these sacred spaces where people feel really comfortable. We don't allow shoes, we don't allow purses, we don't want their weight. So body work. I'm a master body worker. I do dry needling, cupping, joint mobilization, all of that. But we have massage therapists, and we have interns that help stretch people. And if you can have add-on services, 90% of people take it. They don't want to just sit there if they didn't bring a book or have a lot of work to do. There's so many add-on services, like it's almost ridiculous. Every time I add something new, like even my patients, they tell me, can you buy that and just charge me like an extra $25? I'm like, really? Really? They're like, yeah, really, get a red light room. I'm like, oh my God, But they want it. They want it, they don't want it in the room, and they want it all in one place. I call my place the Cheesecake Factory of Healing, right? Like everybody says, well, what do? I do almost everything. Look it up on my computer because it's a lot, okay? Yeah, there's my face. When I had tubes in my freaking face, it changed how I looked, changed how I felt about myself. But growing up, I was a model, and often we're so rewarded with our outside self and how we maintain this like smile. I had straight A's, I was a model, and I was dying inside. So you have to go beyond the outside and look on the inside with some people. And there's so much that you might be aware. You see clients all the time. I've seen the salt room, like you have repetitive clients, so you have the gift of getting to know someone maybe once a week or once a month, deeper and deeper. And I truly believe it's our spiritual path. It's not an accident for you to actually, if you have a vibration that says, I want to check on them, their family, their dog, maybe go a little deeper, I say go for it, And it doesn't mean you have to do everything I do. You don't want to go out of your scope, but have a really great reference list to send them to. Because the more you send out people, the more they're going to come to you. And it's a beautiful path. So stay open to all modes of healing. Just because I love plant medicine, if someone was having an asthma attack, I wouldn't, throw an orange at them, or rub salt on them. I might give them some steroids or something, So traditional medicine, Western medicine, we want to play nice in the sandbox. If you have a license, dedicate your CEUs to bettering your practice, not just keeping your license. So many of my friends are like, I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, I'm keeping my license. You guys know what I'm talking about. Click, click, click. I took the test score. I keep my license. Invest in yourself. I'm working with some doctors now. I'm changing their clinic, and they won't brain tap. They won't take a pause because they might have a new client call. They might have a call, and I'm like, I will discharge patients and clients, because if you can't be the change you want to have for your patients, it's not for me. So invest in yourself. Just know there's really never a ceiling. There's no ceilings around me. Just keeps getting more and more, Retreat centers, books, movies, like your life is truly limitless. Everything everybody said, your thoughts today build your world tomorrow. So if you're limiting yourself, just know it's you. These are the brain taps meditations that I've written, some of them. Some of them are on Kundalini, prostate, quantum healing. I just wrote a lot of anatomical meditations for like releasing headache and helping open up your intestines so you can, all that stuff. So here are my handles. I have 6 of them. They went off the page. But you can follow me. And on the last page, I have a WhatsApp group that I love. I started with Dr. Porter about 3 years ago at the Dave Asprey conference. It was a year after I met him, but I'm like, you're awesome. I want to create a network, because unless you're a speaker or paying like $5,000 or more for a super, super cool ticket to hang out at the end of the evening, you lose that conversation, or people are overwhelmed with information. So in my WhatsApp group, if you see, there's so many different sections. So there's like A4 on BioRoyale or speakers, Canadella's. Maybe you want to smoke and stretch with me. I don't know. But you can find conferences. There's even a singles group now. It's called Royal Court. Maybe you'll find a like-minded person. There's info on peptides. I'm creating one for me screen that Lisa can admin. So if you're looking to have a mitochondrial function test in your clinic, or you want to just take one for yourself, check it out. It's a great community. And maybe you want to admin a group, like you want to be like, I'll be the salt lady, whatever it might be. But thank you guys for joining me. I am going to open for questions. But wait, I want to go back and show how cool I am. Anything cool? I was going to put my picture, but who cares? All right, brain top. Does anybody have any questions? Or can anybody twerk? All right, get up. Okay, go for it.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Denise, and that was beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing all
Thank you.
that. I appreciate you. I do have a question, and you briefly mentioned that you used the brain tap. Did you use it with your 9-year-old?
I did use it with my 9-year-old, and I have it at back to school fairs. And for example, go ahead, ask your question. I already felt like I knew what it was, so I was going there, but I'll let you finish.
I think you probably have it. I raised my little 8-year-old grandson, and he suffers some anxiety issues from some trauma that he is subliminally has in his past, and anxiety, chewing, stuff like that. And I'm wondering if some of this can help heal him.
100%. I love to listen to Dr. Patrick Porter's voice, because it's like the first one I listened to. I got attached through my process. So sometimes I'll hear another doctor's voice. I'm like, I don't want to go to sleep to you, you know. So I've never really channeled my yoga angelic voice, which is not like real to me, like, hi kids, we're going to sleep. But I talk very gentle. I've had a lot of emails that kids find my voice soothing and mother-like. You know, I talk about nutrition and make superheroes. But there's a lot of kids that are nonverbal that have even become verbal after about 6 sessions. There's studies on this. And I've been at back to school fairs, and what I wanted to say is that there's the ears and then the eyes, right? So if they're going like this or they're going like this, that's okay. I've seen parents like, keep it on. I mean, like, if someone was doing that to me, I would just want to punch them in the face and leave. So, I mean, how do you think a kid could feel who can't express those emotions? So when I have kids in my center, I have a lovely fluffy rug, right? Because you don't want them rolling in sand with a device. But we do wrap it in saran wrap to protect it, and I let them roll around in it. I will actually let them break it. Like, don't tell Brain Tap, but they're very good customer service. I'm joking, Brain Tap, but they're very good with customer service. I know I have to go. But you want them to feel comfortable. Being explorative is part of nature. And it's when you stop, they don't get to explore, and now it's like everything's unknown and scary. So you have to let them play with it, and maybe they don't listen to it the whole time, but I've had mothers that are like, my kid can't even, because, you know, I'll knock everything off the table and she's just a mess, like, you know, because she's handling a lot with maybe a child with autism or a hyperactivity. She's like, he won't sit. And I'm like, how about you stay here and read? I'll run around with him for a little bit. And maybe they'll play with it like this. But I sometimes get kids and then all of a sudden they're here 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and the mom's like in the corner just crying. Like, so it might not look the same way as everybody else, but just finding a way in is great, you know?
Can they use it without the eyes as well?
Yeah, so you can use it without the eyes. It's so beneficial. All of you who scan my link can get a free 14-day download on the app. So you get a free app for 14 days. You could listen to me. You could go to sleep to my voice every single night for 14 days. And really explore the app. If you have really good headphones, the lights are amazing because you have nerves connected to your eyes, cranial nerves, and all of these things. So that was the best component for me because I had sleeping problems, and every time I closed my eyes, I would see certain things. So it was very stimulating. Sometimes people might say it's too stimulating, but maybe they need it. You can adjust the intensity of the lights, and I actually like to draw it all the way up because I want to regulate my body and have a stronger neuromuscular system. So, yeah. Any other questions? I don't think I have time, but I have cards here. I'll put them in the back on a chair if you guys want to connect. I'm a connector. I love you guys. Thank you.